What's up, everybody? It's Monday, and the Coastal might be looking better than Atlantic. Oh my gosh, good, bad, and ugly. It's GBU Monday. You know, we talk about all things good, bad, and indifferent when it comes to our favorite teams in the ACC. I'm just sitting here saying, what the heck happened or is happening to Boston College? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper. Thanks so much for joining me today. Kenton is in the background whistling, of course, as he's ready to go from Locked On Wolfpack podcast. And we are super excited for the opportunity to talk to you about the GBU Monday, good, bad, and ugly that we saw from all of our favorite Atlantic Division teams going into week 2. I mean, listen, I, for one, felt like don't be a week 1 warrior, like you said, Kenton, and maybe week 2 get a little bit better. But for some of these teams, not much has changed. So we'll talk about all of that. If you have not yet listened to us every single day, now's your chance to subscribe to the episodes. And you can subscribe to not only the YouTube channel, but follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and all of the like. Kenton, how are we feeling after this week 2 of games?
Feel very vindicated in my statements last week. Like I told everybody, relax, give it a week, give it a couple of weeks. Let's wait until the season develops a little bit. In the words of Shannon Sharp, you got to let that thing develop, Skip. You got to let that thing develop. And everybody went out week 1 and had their hot takes on who was great and who wasn't. And now look at us. Now look.
Some of us were actually spot on. So we can talk about it, So the good, all things good that came with week 2. We had a lot of great wins from the Atlantic Division teams. Listen, started out at the gate. Friday Night Lights, Louisville at UCF. Louisville, of course, is a team that everyone wanted to write off after week 1, but certainly found a way to get a good win from a really talented UCF team. And I think you saw a lot of goodness from that offense, and especially that defense for Louisville step up in big ways. And I talk and joke about Carolina all the time about how their defense, doesn't want to be the laughingstock of their program. And it felt like Louisville kind of got that hint as well, saying, listen, I know we talk about Malik, I know we talk about Keitrell Clark, but I want to make sure that we are just as sound. And it was a positive, going into week 3.
I 100% agree. The Louisville defense really saved the day. They were really the stars of the show, and that was a very good thing for Louisville, because if they were dependent on that offense alone, that would have been tough. I don't know what this offense needs to do to figure it out and get going, but they're seeming to have some pretty serious struggles there. So the defense stepping up and just creating havoc all throughout UCF's backfield and making sure that it was difficult for UCF to do much all night. That was very important.
Yeah, I think we saw flashes of Malik Cunningham. Like, okay, this is the Malik we have come to know and love. This is the one we brag about. This is the one we say is the second coming of Lamar Jackson. Now I just want him and all the key players, especially on that offensive line, to really get on board so we can have more of those moments throughout the rest of the season. So there was that. Another good thing we saw was a ACC versus SEC win in Wake Forest. To me, it was a great matchup in terms of just showing the dominance, getting Sam Hartman back on the field, and just making sure that defense held true. So what we've been talking about in terms of their improvement, and I think the Demon Deacons certainly did that on Saturday against Vandy.
I think that this goes into my good a little bit here. But Sam Hartman being back was great to see. We expected that offense to do what they did, but Wake Forest defense stepping up as well, scoring pick sixes and all those types of things. That's the type of stuff that's going, have this team right back in the conference championship if they are to make it back. Because counting on, having a race to 50 every game, that is not sustainable. It's not a recipe for success.
It's not? Are you sure?
I don't care how you cut it, how you slice it. You can have some success for maybe 4 or 5 games. If you're really lucky, a year. But the reality is that's not over the course of 2-3 years. You're not going to see success having boat races or, basically having a track meet on turf. That's just not going to get it done.
Yeah. Listen, I am just excited to see Sam Hartman back out there, 4 touchdown passes on the day. And I think, if anything, we're just seeing a really good Donovan Green. We're seeing a really good AT pair. We're just feeling like Wake Forest wasn't a fluke from last season, which a lot of people tried to give that vibe. But to me, Dave Clawson, if you've been following his career, like, there's nothing about him that gives fluke.
Oh, absolutely. He's finished ahead of where they were predicted to finish at ACC Media Days every year. And this year, I believe they were picked to finish like 4th or 3rd in the Atlantic, which should be trouble for the teams in front of them. But this goes into my good, which is football in the great state of North Carolina. Candace, this stretches beyond the Atlantic. This goes into the coastal as well.
Mm-hmm.
NC State, Wake Forest, the boys in baby blue, and Duke, all undefeated. First time that they have started 2-0 since when, Candace?
Since 1976.
Ever. First time ever. First time
I know, yeah.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, football is on the rise. And have these teams played necessarily great competition so far? No, not really. Whatever. But the reality is, I mean, for these North Carolina teams to be in good shape and good standing, we know how hard Candace goes for her main man Elko over there. I'll tell you what, she is going up for those for Duke so hard. They might take your alumni card at UNC. They might just strip you of the thing.
You'd be surprised.
And of course, Mac might actually be back. Who knows what's going on there? But they're the only 3-0 team in the nation. The only 3-0 team in the nation. So there's that. Wake Forest, Hartman is back. He's looking good. He's looking healthy, all that good stuff. And NC State, like I told everybody after last week, it's one game in which they struggled. Every team have games in which they struggled. They made very light work of Charleston Southern. They struggled. The offense did not do much for all of 2 drives. And then after that, it was just like, all right, put these boys back on the bus. Give it a running clock, because it got really ugly really early.
Well, you know, Devin Leary wasn't about to choke on his birthday. Like, come on now. Against Charleston Southern at home and Carter Finley, like, that was just a recipe for having a good day.
Well, and you know what? Happy birthday, Devin. And he showed out. He showed out. You know, when they ran a QB draw, and I want to say it was like 3rd and 10 from the 12, I'm like, who do we think we have back there? What's going on? But Devin proved him right. He got into the end zone, and that, you know, I said, oh, you got a little bit of that dog in him. Got a little bit of that Russell Wilson in him. Got a little bit of that in him. All right, I see you. It was a good look. So, you know, I think that North Carolina, all of the schools in North Carolina being undefeated is a great thing for the ACC. It's a great thing, despite close games.
1,000%. And listen, we got another North Carolina team that we have to give a shout out, because, you know, that's what we do around here. We have to show the love. App State upsetting Texas A&M. And not for nothing, there's been like rumors, there's been a little spark out here. Let's throw it out here. Should App State potentially join the ACC?
You know, I think that would be actually a great thing for App State. I think it would be massive for App State, and that they would get to play more of these in-state games, because everybody talked about how good it was for the state that ECU played NC State and that App State played UNC. Well, you know, I think it'll be great for them. The question is, what does the ACC necessarily gain out of it? And, you know, that's I don't see how you could not want to do that at all, from the standpoint of, it's, even if they do not bring the biggest crowd, which I'm sorry, but those crowds in Boone are always packed. The reality is that's still one of the more storied programs in all of college football, if you think about recent history, in terms of them just being, you know, regardless of the iteration, they will always happily be the David to somebody's Goliath. They went into the big house, took down Michigan. They went down to Aggie land, took down Texas A&M. Wherever they go, wherever there's a giant, they're going to be standing there with a slingshot. So, you know, shout out to they're the Mountaineers, correct? Yeah. Shout out to the Mountaineers. Shout out to the Mountaineers.
Well, I think not only just from what does the ACC have to gain? Listen, you have a steady fan base, a consistent fan base, someone who's going to bring out crowds, especially in the North Carolina area that you're talking about, these undefeated teams. You're going to get an opportunity to see more of that, but more of I think, if anything, the teams that are currently undefeated would be shaking in their boots a little bit, as we saw in that 63-61 matchup, if they had to play them consistently. So I think it would be fun to have App State in the ACC, only because they're a good academic school. They can bring some of like the same basketball-wise, maybe not, but football's sake, which is what Jim Phillips wants so bad. I think you bring a lot of money to the pockets, in my personal opinion, because we all know like Notre Dame not happening. And do we even want Notre Dame at this point? I'm not sure.
Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it.
I'm not sure.
Those Notre Dame fans are a different breed. They could lose every game possible, and NBC would still be standing there. We'll give you $80 million. Come on. Whatever you want. Come on. Stay with us. So, it's that, yes, they got beat by Marshall and all that, but, they're not an ACC team anyway, so we don't need to talk about those guys.
Happily. Shout out to Coach Huff, who had to coach his butt off, honestly. That was one of the best games I've seen in quite some time. But as y'all know, we talk about underdogs here in the show. Marshall was clearly one. App State was another. And we have more ACC teams that are going to find themselves being underdogs as the season progresses. Texas A&M will face off against Miami, and a Miami team that is looking mighty good. Now, when we talk about underdogs, this episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to spice up the college football season. Emphasis on easy to get it done, okay? I'm emphasizing the easy part because I want you to get right for the new football season. It's easy to play, can win cold hard cash in a single game, and Underdogs has investment backing from Mark Cuban, Kevin Durant, Adam Schefter, and more. Sign up with the promo code Locked On, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find the Underdog Fantasy app on the App Store or Google Play Store. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Locked On. Get in on college football pick'em action today. We're rocking and rolling here with Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack Podcast, talking about the ACC and how good North Carolina teams have been. But there's also some bad points that we like to call on GBU Monday. So, bad. I'll let you start. What was a little bit like for you in week 2?
I got to say it. Listen, and I love me, and this hurts me to say because I love me some Malik Cunningham, but the bad was Louisville only won that game because UCF did everything possible to give them that game. I mean, multiple touchdowns called back because of penalties, multiple stupid penalties. And I'm not arguing that the refs hosed UCF at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is UCF did everything they could to give that game away, and it was still close. Louisville, I'm worried. I'm concerned.
They were supposed to be the dark horse going into this season. They're supposed to be the ones that, okay, if they can get it right, we have so much faith in Malik that I'm not too worried about how the defense can hold their own, because we know quarterbacks is just a good thing here in our conference.
I'll tell you what, with a couple more performances like this, they'll go from dark horse to dead horse, meaning if we talk about how bad they are, we are beating a dead horse. The bad to me is definitely Louisville. I don't want to, I love me some Malik Cunningham. It hurts me a little bit to say this, but if UCF did not give that game away with multiple terrible penalties, multiple touchdowns called back, multiple moments where you look up and say, why would that kid do that? Because I'm not saying that the refs hosed UCF at all. This was UCF hosing themselves. But the reality is Louisville, I'm going to say the same thing I said about NC State in week 1. You will play bigger, stronger, faster, and in this particular case, much more disciplined teams. Mm-hmm. You will not receive 80 yards of penalties, some of those yards coming and taking off touchdowns every game. Yeah. I am worried about y'all. You're looking real funny in the light, Louisville. You're looking mighty funny under that light.
Yeah, I would say the bad for me is really on us, Kenton. We went into the season, we voted, we did preseason, all the media people, we talked down on Syracuse so bad, and they have just shut us up. 2-0 to start. Not that they played the world's greatest teams, because we just talked about how Louisville's not that great. They played a UConn team that we all know is meh, but putting up 48 when we know Garrett Schrader was allegedly not the greatest quarterback ever, shame on us for having such little faith. Like, we picked them last here in the ACC. Putting up 48, Sean Tucker's on his Heisman campaign, and they are 2-0, and I promise you, nobody saw that coming. They might have saw 1-1, but definitely not 2-0.
I will tell you this. I didn't see 2-0 coming. I didn't. But with that being said, like you said, credit to Syracuse. They are balling. They are playing out of their minds. Everything is clicking. Everything is going right for them, And I believe I'm fairly certain that Sean Tucker is not only. Here's the only concern I have about Syracuse outside of the fact that, like you said, this could be them playing two bad teams. But let's just say all things hold and Syracuse is fine, and this is just who they are at a high level. My only concern is that I believe Sean Tucker is not only their leading rusher, but he's also their leading receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That is a problem. That is a problem that needs to be solved. You never want to have one man be the sole driver of your offense, especially if that one man does not play a position that has special rules baked in to protect them. Like quarterbacks have special rules in place on how you can land on them, how you can hit them, when you can hit them, all that good stuff. Running backs do not. They do not have the same level of rules protecting them. And so if a running back is your first, your last, your everything, I mean, you're
Barry White.
Listen, all I'm saying is it's again, he's a baller. I'm not saying that he's not durable. I'm not saying, he's had injury. I'm not saying none of that. All I'm saying is the running back position is the nature of the position. If you are a very high usage back, I don't know if you want that to be, but Schrader has played well to this point. He has played better than expected. So if he continues playing like that and he finds some receivers not named Tucker, I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, 20 for 23 on the day, 287 yards, which again, we were not talking about Schrader like this. I can be the first one to say Schrader could not throw it to his mama in the stands if she asked and begged him to. So, I am a Schrader apologist. I will sit here and say it's very impressive for them to be 2-0. But I will say, I'm not apologizing for going as hard about Dino and feeling like he just needed that right core, that right healthy team to be successful, because you don't win 10 as a fluke. You don't beat Clemson as a fluke if you're not a great coach. So he had it. He just had to move some pieces around. Still can work on clock management, all the little things, but, got to give your hat off where it's due. So a bad Louisville team who we said was supposed to be a dark horse, Syracuse might turn out to be that dark horse for us here in the ACC. But more important than that, we have to touch on the ugly. And before we do that, as we gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you talk to faster and for free. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to, because nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn every single week. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. As we know, terms and conditions do apply, but small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. All right, guys, we're wrapping up here with Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. And we are talking about good and bad and ugly on our GBU Monday. And one of the things that we are holding true here is the fact that it's getting ugly for those guys in Chestnut Hill. 0-2 start. Absolutely did not see that coming. Coach Hafley and the boys, it's getting shaky. I know people are calling for his head. I think that's a little overrated. I think that's getting a little bit too much. But what the heck is going on for Boston College?
Your guess is as good as mine, and that's my ugly as well. This Boston College, listen, it's one thing for them to get beat. You know what I mean? That's one thing. You live with that. You live with a close loss and all that. 27-10 does not properly show how badly Virginia Tech whooped on them boys. Yeah. It does not properly display how ugly it was. And the worst part is there was a moment where Phil Dracovic got up off the turf and he's on the sideline and he's yelling at his teammates, screaming, I'm getting messed up out there and all that good stuff. And his teammates just did not seem to care very much. There wasn't much yelling back at him or we got to do this. We got to rally around our guy.
Maybe they were taking it in.
Oh, they were taking a lot in. They were taking a ton in. They should have pushed a little something out. That's what they probably should have done in this game. But the reality is this was, Hafley, what's going on? What is – I'll tell you this. I do think I I think some people are like saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have fired Adazio," which I think is knock it off. I think it was time.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree it was time. Maybe Halfley just wasn't the right guy, but for Pete's sake,
I don't even know if Halfley's not the right guy, but you had no worries. I asked you a question ACC kickoff. I'm sitting here saying, all right, this is year 3. Do you feel the pressure? You're telling me year 1, you barely know your team because of COVID. Year 2, you feel gets hurt. What's the reason? Year 3, all the pieces are here for you to be successful, and it ain't kind of shaking. So tell me, if you own it as a coach, your part in last year, cool. This year, what's the reason? Give me Cardi B energy. What was the reason? What is the reason for y'all to be struggling so mightily? Because you have a Zay Flowers, loyal to the soil. I know he's sitting here saying, I should have gone to USC.
I should have cheated. I should have lied. I should have cheated. I should have been right out there with Lincoln Riley. Them boys. I could have been on the beach, and I'm at Chestnut Hill. Lord,
this is when loyalty has not paid off. And I know, the NIL people of the world who are about to be up in arms, like he, stay true to blah, blah, blah. Honey, sometimes you got to go where the grass is a little bit greener and the taxes suck. But I mean, I'm just saying, the check is a little bit more consistent.
Can I just ask you this? Ask you this? Because a lot of people seem to get real upset when the NIL topic comes up, And let's just talk about this for just a half a second now. If these young men have the opportunity to increase their net worth and value 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 times over. Let's be modest and say 4 to 5 times over by going to a different school. Why wouldn't they? If these schools had the opportunity to increase their endowment 4 times over what it is now by kicking off that one player, you think they'd do it? If these coaches had the ability to make 4 times more than what they make by going to another school, you think they'd do it?
Listen, at the end of the day, in this game, it's W's and L's. It comes down to 2 things. And if you can get yourself in the right position to save your job, not have your family pack up boxes to go to the next state to change the same gear, like to be Adidas to Under Armour to Nike to whatever, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Mr. Flowers, you might have should have had cheated. You might have, Keisha Cole wasn't lying when she said that. You might have should have left. Zay, you might have should have. But no, I think here's the thing. I think that Phil Dracovic, again, he's shown flashes. He's shown flashes in the past, but he needs to string it together consistently.
It's not Phil. It's that O-line. It's the trenches.
I mean, yes, it's the O-line.
Back to the trenches.
The O-line has been terrible as well. The O-line has been terrible as well because I think Garwo is a quality back. I think that he should be doing some better things than what he's doing right now. But if you're watching the film, you're right. The O-line they're getting their heads whooped on the regular, but I mean, at some level, again, there have been offenses, especially in college, with bad offensive lines that have kind of figured it out. They figured out some way, somehow to do something where it's like, this Boston College offense couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight on Saturday. So that's
and look, it's not getting easier. Your schedule is, yes, you have this man pick me up where you can get a little excited about, but you're both 0-2 and crazier things have happened. We've seen it throughout college football. I mean, it's not a gimme. You got Florida State, who's starting to fire on all cylinders. You got Louisville, who, Malik, right now I would give Louisville over Boston College, but that might be closer games than we think. You got Clemson, which is the red bandana game. You got Wake Forest. You got UConn, who, okay, I'll give you that one. You got Duke, who's not a team to sleep on this year. Hello. You have NC State, Notre Dame, and the Syracuse team we just said it's a dark horse. Like, are you going to find 6? We joke about Duke, but is Boston College going to find 6 wins?
I doubt it. They've gotten off to a rough start in 2 games that I think you kind of had to win at least 1 to get to 6. But like you said, they do have some gimmies coming up. Like Maine should be a gimme. But this team, that UConn team, I don't think they've won 10 games since I've been retired. Like and that's been about 5 years now. It's going on 5 years. Yeah.
And yet, with what Boston College has shown me, I can't even with full faith say, yeah, they're gonna just go in and handle business. It's gonna be whatever.
I'll tell you what, if they lose to that UConn team, Halfley might not he might not make it on the bus back to the crib. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you straight up.
Even with these good teams, just if you make it competitive, I can say, okay, give him a little more time. It's Boston College. Did it? What else are you gonna do? You know, who else is running to go coach at Boston College right now? Seriously, who is running to take that job?
I mean, but the reality is, you're still a Power 5 job. Like
Sure.
that's regardless of how you want to cut it, how you want to slice it. There are very few programs that you look at nationally and say they give you this type of marquee, they give you this type of clout. If you just have 2-3 good years, if you come to Boston College and have 2 to 3 years, you have a 2 to 3 year span where y'all win 10 games every year, you can write your ticket to wherever.
When is that going to happen, bro? Very seriously.
Okay, a 9 game, 2 to 3 9 game.
Bro. Eight.
Tom O'Brien did it. Tom O'Brien did it when he had what was that quarterback that's with the Colts now? Help me out.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Yeah, he did it. He did it back then.
Phil Dracovic is supposed to be the second coming.
Yeah,
the third coming.
He ain't the second. He ain't. He might not be coming to the party. Okay, you know what I mean. You waiting on him to be the first, second, third coming. You're gonna hear "Coming to the Party" by Pop Smoke. Because that's, you ain't going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be waiting a long time. I'm saying if you're waiting on Phil to show up to the party, you might, I'm just saying.
Help us.
I'm just saying. But the reality is this Boston College team has got to do some soul searching, because while they have had 2 bad performances, I'm still not fully ready to say this is who they are. They're a bad team. I'm not there yet. Not there. I'm close. Don't get me wrong. I'm close. I'm about this far, because again, I am more so worried about the apathy than anything else. Like if they were playing tight, I would be like, oh, they'll be fine. They'll relax. They'll figure it out. If they were making, early season stupid mistakes, and they were just playing bad special teams or something, oh, they're fine. They'll figure it out. What I'm seeing out of this team is like, They just do not. It's not.
Ain't no dogs out there right now.
It doesn't mean the world to them. It doesn't mean the world to them. And that offensive line doesn't care much for their quarterback.
But maybe they're confused themselves as to why it's not clicking, because on paper and what people have told, maybe they believed into the hype. Maybe they bought into the hype. Maybe they bought into the coach.
The hype said that y'all were supposed to be at best the 3rd best team in the conference. If somebody telling you you're going to be number 3, and you're like, wow, in the nation, cool. And they're like, no, the conference. And you're like, still cool. I don't need to work hard anymore. You probably shouldn't be a Division I ball player. You probably should not be at
Kenton.
What? Being 3rd, not even 3rd in the conference. I'm sorry. 3rd in your division of the conference. If that's enough, if that is enough for you to be like, yeah, I'm good here. I'm good. I don't need to say anything else. You don't need to. You don't deserve.
It's the wrong place for you.
To be.
Okay,
it's
coach.
Not,
okay, coach. Okay, get him out of here. Get him out of here, coach. Okay.
Listen,
I like it.
I'm gonna just tell you, I'm not cut out for coaching. I'm not. That's not my calling.
No,
but I'll tell you this. If I was Coach Hafley, what I'm saying to this team right now is whatever y'all thought, whatever we thought we were, whatever we thought we had going on, is not working.
Yeah.
Not a single job on this team is safe, except for Zay Flowers. Your job is safe. You're good. You're good. I am not talking to you. You're good. Everybody else.
Two now. Mm-hmm.
Everybody else. I swear on all that is holy, none of you have a guaranteed spot coming in this week.
Even Phil.
As a matter of fact, tomorrow, because Tuesday is normally like the heavy, intensive practice day and all that, I'm telling everybody, we won't have a team period. We won't have all of that. We're doing strictly individual. We're doing all technique work. And guess what?
Okay.
And guess what? Whoever is the best out of this week, today we're doing technique. Tomorrow we'll finally pick a ball up as a unit and do all the things that we need to do and do all the game plan. Whoever shows me the greatest effort and the greatest technique will play. If you don't want to do that, if you feel like you've earned your spot and you shouldn't be competing, if you feel like I'm the baddest thing since sliced bread and I can go transfer elsewhere, get the redacted out of this room. We don't need you, because nobody here Nobody here has played the type of ball where I'm like, hey, man, you've put it on the tape. I can't say nothing to you.
Yeah.
You put it on the tape. You have helped us win at every step. No, nobody's done that. So don't worry about it. We'll weed out who don't need to be here real quick.
Well, listen, it might be a man in the mirror kind of conversation for a lot of those Boston College kids. But more than that, I think, when we look at week 3, we're going to really start to see who's developing, who are we really right about in terms of like the Syracuse, the Louisvilles of the world, who are we feeling wrong about, like the Clemson of the world, who like, okay, you beat Furman, great. All right. We're going to have all those conversations and more as we get ready for the next GBU Monday. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we appreciate the time as always. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow. We're going to go all things coastal. So I know some of you Miami fans are like, why aren't you talking about the big win against Southern Miss? And all, we got you, okay? North Carolina, I can't wait to talk to you. Notre Dame, Duke. Not even Notre Dame, Northwestern, Duke. I got all the things I want to react.
Did you just say big win against Southern Miss?
Yeah, wasn't it?
Listen.
Miami?
Yeah, it was, but I'm saying if you consider that a big win, y'all got some problems that you got to sort out as a program.
You know what?
I'm going to shut up.
That's not your day. Thank you so much for Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs. Until next time.